Hello Guardians, Tristan DeRaven here again with this week's second video on the Nightfall, doing the run on the Hunter. My previous video was done on the Warlock, which arguably is probably the easiest class to do it on this week with Voidburn with the Vampire build. The Hunter, on the other hand, because they're squishy, is a little more difficult, so I wanted to show you guys that you can do it on the Hunter just as easily. Using a Void build with the Young Ahamkara Spine armor, so that you have dual smoke grenades, which will work out really well, so make sure that you've got a disciplined strength build. Now here you want to be quick to get the gold medal. The cutoff, I believe, on points is 43,000, and if you finish the flares off too quick, then you will miss that. I did that on my Titan. I finished all three off as soon as they spawned, and I missed the gold medal by like 20 points or something. It was super frustrating, so just be aware of that. Now for this first room here, the strategy really, after we pop the ghost, is just to come back to this hallway, stay in that area. That's going to be our safe area. You want to take out any of those exploding cylinders as you can, just because they can cause a accidental death, and you don't want a death due to the architects here to ruin your run. So the first wave of Cabal is going to come out of this door. You want to take out those Centurions quick. Those are the ones that are really going to wreck you. And as you can see, I'm using Telesto, which is something that I haven't seen really anybody else using. And on this Nightfall is super effective for this room. Now, along with those Centurions, you're going to have these mini flares that are going to come out. You'll see the first one here. And if you want to get out of these rooms quick, as soon as you take out that mini flare, then the door will pop open. You don't need to stick around and take out the rest of these Scions. If you kind of run back into that hallway, you'll be good to go, and the door will open up for you. You don't need to clean them up. I do, just because of the points, and even though they're not terribly strong, those Scions can wreck you pretty quick. So just be aware of that. Now, moving into the next room, I'm going to use a scout rifle to take out the Colossus and whatever else is on that kind of mid-railway up there. I didn't want to swap over to the sniper to do that like I did on my Warlock and Titan, just because I wanted to stick with Telesto. And then I'm just going to move into the elevator shaft here, jump up, and take out the ads that are up on that mid-tier. Now, you will have Cabal and Vex that are fighting, so if you want, you can actually hang out and let them just sort of take each other out. So, you know, just be aware of that. Now you can see I'm really good at jumping here, but again, you can just sort of hang out and they will kind of dwindle each other. I had a couple of runs where the Cabal took out all the Vex and I didn't need to do anything with those guys. Now, if you're going to be using Telesto, you really want to shoot down at the Phalanx's feet. It just has a bigger hitbox and it's just going to make things easier. The next wave of Cabal is going to come out from the doorway across the room here that I'm running to. So you can use a grenade, Telesto, rocket launcher, something along those lines, and really take these guys out quick. Again, your goal is to take out those Centurions as quick as possible. Because with those, whatever, like exploding rocket round things that they have, those guys hurt quite a bit. So taking out those guys fast will just make your run a lot easier. As you can probably tell, I sped up the video a little bit here, just because these videos are already long enough, and I didn't want to make them any longer than they had to be, so that's why everything's just a bit faster here. Now, the mini flare will come out of this door here. What you want to do, though, is make sure you've actually cleared out the room before you go up there and waste any time, unlike I did. But once you do have the room cleared out, then they're going to come out from that little door there, which, again, just makes it really easy to take them out quick. Alright, so we finally got the room clear. Grenade and a rocket, or two. Just makes quick work of those guys. So as you can see, they're done. And as soon as that mini flare is taken care of, you can actually go ahead onto the next room. I like to ammo up before I move on and reload, just to make sure that I'm ready to go, not waste any of my resources. Now in this next room, you're going to have Cabal and Vex fighting again. There's going to be a mixture of Minotaurs as well as Centurions and a few Colossuses, depending on the rounds, that you're going to have to deal with. The Minotaurs, Centurions, and the Colossus are going to be your main focus. Take those guys out first and take them out quick, especially the Minotaurs, because those guys are Void Burn and they will absolutely wreck. So if you're not paying attention, they can absolutely ruin a run, so just be aware of that. Now again, you can let these guys, you know, kind of duke it out and take one another out and really dwindle down the numbers. It'll take a little while, so if you're not too concerned about time, let's say you've already gotten your Sunrise bounty on another character, or if you already have Icebreaker and you just want to kind of hang out and let them do the work for you, you absolutely can. Or if you're a lower light level, or if you don't have the best weapons, you can do that as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, the idea is to get this done for the rewards rather than, you know, be the best at it. Now, you want to be careful, because as you can see here, I almost eat it right here. I wasn't reading my radar very carefully, and that one guy almost takes me out. So just be aware of what's around you. Use, obviously, the room to your advantage to cover that sort of thing, and then, you know, don't get too zeroed in on aiming down sights or too focused on just one particular gun. Now, this area can glitch out, and you may have to kill yourself in order to move on. If that happens, don't waste time. If you take out this next wave of Cabal and that barrier doesn't come down, just blow yourself up, rerun the room so you can move on. Again, don't waste time trying to, you know, force that barrier to come down or try and figure out what you may have done wrong. If it doesn't come down right away, just go to one of those exploding cylinders, blow yourself up, and redo the room. I had to do that a few times on my Titan, as well as on the first run I did on the Warlock, so just be aware of that as well. And there can be 2 Minotaurs in this next area, so again, take those guys out fast, move on to the Harpies, and then the next Flayer is going to come out right here. Again, as soon as this guy is taken care of, that door is going to open up and you can move on to the boss fight. Now, at this point, you're going to have multiple Scions along with that Flayer. We're doing really good on time. I'm not too worried about that part. So if you need to bail in order to stay alive, and, you know, he regens his shields, that's fine. That's okay. You obviously want to keep that shield down and make quick work of them, but if you can't for whatever reason, then go ahead and, you know, bail out of the area, regroup, come back in, and then take them out. Don't ruin the run by being stubborn. Now here you can see I swapped a sniper and sword for the boss fight, and I actually popped that special box before I did it. I should have done it in the opposite order there, which cost me a little bit of time trying to run around and find ammo. It's not too big of a deal though. But again, go ahead and ammo up, reload, check your build, make any adjustments that you need to, because the boss fight is quite lengthy and you don't want to waste time doing that mid-fight. Now we are going to go ahead and stick to the killing hallway for the majority of the fight. I am going to show you a cheese spot that was used previously, but I am not going to recommend it for this fight, and you'll see why here in just a little bit. But I do want to show you guys that, just in case in future Nightfalls or future strikes, it's going to be a viable option for you. So go ahead and take these first guys out, and then you're going to call in the boss. Again, I'll show you that cheese spot real quick. If you're running a Night Stalker Hunter, just be aware that if you're going to use Tether on the flares, that it can glitch out a little bit, and I'll show you that as well. So if you're going to go with the tactic of tethering them and then sorting them to death, or, you know, rocketing them or something along those lines, they can kind of glitch out and not register damage on Dart Drinker. So if that's going to be your main tactic for taking out the flare, just be aware that that can happen. Now, I am saving the super for the boss just in case I need it. You can obviously use it for these guys if you need to. Don't let yourself die and save the super. If you need it, use it. But I do like to hold on to it just in case I need it for a flare. Alright, again, we're going to ammo up before calling in the boss. You have control, and I'm going to show you this cheese spot right here, but you have control over whether or not the flayers spawn in at this point. So here you're going to see where we jump to get to that cheese spot. You want to jump on this box here, turn around, jump up onto that box that the crane's holding, and then on top of this cylinder here. Now, in year one and that sort of thing, this was a safe spot. They can still shoot you, but obviously you can see here that I absolutely get wrecked with those exploding shots from the Centurions. You have quite a commanding view down below from up here, but again, it's not a safe spot anymore for this particular Nightfall, so I wouldn't advise using it. And there we go. So again, don't use it this particular Nightfall. But as I was saying, you have control over when the flayers spawn in at this point. Once you pop that ghost out, oh, you want to take that thing out too, because I'm going to show you what happens if you don't. So this is another run where I didn't take that exploding cylinder thing out, and I take out the first flayer, and I come up on the second, and boom. Misadventure. Okay, back to the run. Now, like I was saying, you have control over when the flayers spawn in. Once you pop that ghost, if you wipe, when it resets, you're just going to go right back to, they're just going to start spawning in right off the bat. You're not going to have control over whether or not, they come in. Now, I got 2 of the flares, which is great before that ship came in, which is the goal, but that means I have 2 waves of ads that are going to come in at once, which just is going to prolong being able to take out that third. So just be aware of that. If you are able to take out 2 of the flayers right off the bat, you're going to have 2 waves worth of ads spawn all at once, which can be a little overwhelming. That's why we're going to stick to this hallway. The ads will not come back to where I'm at right now, so we're going to use our grenades to go ahead and whittle down their health, and then we're going to use our primary to clean up just because of ammo conservation. As the fight goes on, you're going to see just the stacks of Cabal bodies that are going to be in this hallway, which makes it a significantly better kind of killing area than the cheese spot that I showed you earlier. Again, I like to save my super for the flare just in case, but if you need it, by all means, go ahead and pop it. Don't hold on to it and die and ruin a run just because, you want to hold on to that super out of stubbornness. Centurions and the phalanxes, go ahead and throw a grenade, throw a smoke, and then clean them up with the primary. Because we're not really moving out of this area too much, we don't have the opportunity to run out and grab a lot of ammo, so ammo conservation is going to be important. A couple of times I get a little bit low, but not too much, and again, that's because I'm using grenades primarily for damage rather than sticking to my primary weapon. Now, every once in a while you're going to have to kind of peek out, kind of see what's going on. The ships will periodically bring ads in, and you will have a few little mini waves which will spawn from the door to my right, or excuse me, to my left, and then the one to the far right from where I'm at currently. Those come in every, 60 to 90 seconds or so. The ships come in, every couple of minutes, so once you get that initial wave taken down, then you'll have a little bit of freedom to kind of peek out, maybe do a little bit of sniping before you move on to the next player. Now really the whole Nightfall really takes place right here towards the end. The first 3 rooms aren't terribly difficult, as you saw. You can breeze through them really quickly. The key to this fight here, though, is to stay patient. Don't push out, don't be too eager too soon, because again, while don't have a lot of ads that spawn pretty quickly. They do spawn pretty consistently, and they are very aggressive. So they will not hesitate to, you know, come into this hallway. Obviously not all the way back, but you don't want to push up too quick, because you can get wrecked and you can get overwhelmed very quickly, especially with the hunter. They're a little bit squishy. Their recovery isn't nearly as quick as the, you know, Warlock or Titan, so, you know, just be aware of that. Once you've whittled down the ads, go ahead and peek out, snipe the Colossuses, and get ready to, you know, move out to take out either the last or the second to last flare, depending on your particular run. Now you can see here that I was working on those two Colossuses, getting ready to run out to take out that last flare, and then I had another wave kind of spawn in here. They came from that door to the left. So pay attention to your radar, have that awareness, don't get too zoomed in on taking out ads or you know, sniping and not see these guys, you know, kind of walking up towards you. They don't move too quick, but slow is steady and steady is fast. So they will make their way over to you. They are a little more aggressive than they normally would be in the Nightfall. They are more difficult to take down since they don't flinch this weak. So just be aware of that. Don't get too zeroed in. Now again here, I'm just trying to clean up some of these ads so I can push out and take out that last flare. And you can see here, working on the Colossus there, get a couple of shots in on the flare, trying to clean up that last Colossus so that I can move out. Boom, I've got another wave that just moved in. So again, if I wasn't paying attention to that radar, that could have been, you know, the end of that run. And even though I'm doing good on time with only 7.5 minutes left, that's not enough time for me to finish this off with points. Now, if this happens to you again, you're just going to fall back to the strategy. If something doesn't go our way, or if you make a mistake and it does end up in a death, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We learn from our mistakes. We don't do the same thing twice. Take a few seconds, think about what happened, and what you did that resulted in that death, and then when you go back in, don't do that. Like I said, we want to learn from our mistakes, not repeat them. Try not to get too frustrated. This is a lengthy fight. It's actually a lot of fun, even though these guys are sort of relentless. And, you know, like I said, this is like a killing hallway, as Durnate called it. But it gets a little monotonous, but I found it to be pretty fun, especially with how fast the grenades recharged and that sort of thing. It made it a lot easier than I was anticipating. Now really here, I should have just pushed out. I don't know why I was sniping so much. I finally got the idea to push out, and that's when I saw the Colossus there, and then immediately just bailed back into the hallway. Instead of trying to snipe that flare, I should have just looked around and seen what ads were out there, and if the coast was clear or clear enough, just pushed up on flare rather than trying to snipe a little bit. And kind of the idea that I had there was, oh, maybe I can get a shield down and then push out with the sword, but I should have just pushed out. No big deal though, we'll just go ahead and fall back, work on this next wave, and then just like I said before, just stick to the plan, peek out a little bit, snipe the Colossuses, any remaining ads that you can that are close to the flare, and then push out. Now, I will say that one drawback to using that vortex grenade is that you can't see what's behind it. If you have a primary that has a highlighting sight that shows you where the enemies are, that's probably a better choice. Just because of, you know, the unflinching nature of this particular Nightfall, I didn't feel that a scout rifle was going to be nearly as viable as the auto rifle, especially this particular Suros. This thing has hand-laid stock along with high cal rounds, so usually this is a flinching machine. It flinches just about everything. And it's pretty funny to watch these ads just like twitch away as I lay into it, but it does, you know, it does work. Unfortunately, because the modifiers, doesn't do nearly as much as it normally would, but personally I thought it was the better choice rather than a scout rifle. Alright, so I've kind of worked this next wave down. I'm getting ready to push out on the final flare. Now I am going to use Tether on him, and I want to show you this glitch that I was talking about. So I'm going to jump to this other run here. Here. Now you're going to see that I go ahead and tether. I take out the ads. And watch what happens here. I get 1, 2, and then all of a sudden, no more damage. I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, it didn't take him out. But fortunately, it worked here. So if you are going to use Tether, just be aware that it can kind of glitch out that way. That was the final flare. I ran away because I wasn't sure whether or not the ship was coming in. Now, I finished the Sunrise bounty. I got the gold tier, but I didn't get a skeleton key. I don't know why, but whatevs, no worries. I guess the Void Mantle wasn't in the cards this week, but let's go ahead and take a look at what the rewards were, and we'll go ahead and finish up, guys. Alright, we got the Don't Touch Me's. Unfortunately, it was a terrible roll, but no big deal. It's infusion fuel. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you got this week for your rewards. And as always, happy playing, guys. Have a good one.